Welcome to the Living Forest. This is a adorably cheap pile of spirits and trees and animals and the fires that they start. You are a spirit guardian, a tiny puckish sprite of a thing with just one job: to protect the giant might of the sacred tree. I mean, look at it, it's tiny. Oh, poor tree. Living Forest is a bit of a woodland trifle, made up of a biscuity layer of deck building, a thick push-your-luck jelly, a combo-tastic bundle of custard, some mean-spirited cream, and 3 different routes to victory's source. Ooh. Each round is made of 2 phases and then a tiny bit of admin. At the start, you'll simultaneously be drawing cards from your deck to see just how powerful you're going to be that turn. Once everyone's done, you go around the table taking 1 or 2 actions each. You might be planting trees, or putting out fires, or buying a new card. Or just dance around this tree over here. Look at this lovely tree. It's big, it's tiny, it's sacred, it's on fire. The victory sources are pretty straightforward. You're trying to get 12 of something that will help you save the tiny, giant, sacred tree. Fire, really bad for trees, so put out 12 fires and you are over the line. 12 different trees in your own little garden, that gets you the prize. Finally, you can call on the aid of a giant woodland spirit, like that stag from the end of Princess Mononoke. This is calling your big brother to sort out your problems for you, but that's fine, because all you need to do is find 12 unique herbs and spices and sit there and wonder whether your brother is actually the Colonel. So it's a race, but it's actually 3 races. But you only have to win one of them, unless someone else wins their race on the same turn as you, in which case you've got to look at all of the races collectively as a big lumpy tummy breaker. You've got to be the fastest, you've got to be the mostest. Can you be the fastest and the mostest at the same timest? Maybe. Board games. At the beginning of each turn, each player simultaneously draws cards to summon creatures into their guardian animal helpline. I need to be clear here, I'm not doing a bit. This is called the Guardian Animal Helpline in the manual.
Guardian Animal Helpline, I'm supposed to be a frog. How can I help you?
Yeah, could you explain how the Guardian Animal Helpline works?
Of course, Mom! The Guardian Animal Helpline lets you draw cards from the deck, each animal providing an element in one of the 5 flavours of elements: sun, water, leaves, dancing, and 12 herbs and spices. Once you decide to stop drawing, that's how many of the various actions you can do on your next turn.
Great, perfect, thanks. I'll take it from here.
I like to think of this as assembling a party, but the kind of party that arseholes might show up to unexpectedly. Some of the cards in your starting deck are going to be solitary animals with this little tiny black symbol that means that they aren't very good at making friends. These are solitary animals, 3 of them and you have gone bust. This is the sort of arsehole that comes to your party and it's fine, they sit in a corner, but once there's 3 of them, they might start a fight, everyone gets their vibe killed. I just want to go home and I can't go home because it's my home. This means that you've got to stop drawing. You don't get to draw any more cards. You are going to have a worse time. You will lose half of your turn. You will only get 1 action instead of 2. It hurts, but it's not knocking you out of the game. Once everyone's established the precise quality of their party, everyone goes to the action phase and you go around the table taking 2 actions, or 1 if you've just had your party pooped. A sun action lets you invite a new animal into your deck, or maybe more than 1 if you've got the sun for it. Be careful though, each of these lovely creatures is a fire hazard, hasn't been told about the sacred fire safety rules, and will leave behind a little dollop of forest fire that'll be a problem later. The more water, the more fire you can put out. The more fires you put out, the closer you are to winning. It's the easiest route to victory, but if everyone's putting out fires, that's not enough fires for you. How are you going to get over the victory line? Well, maybe when it's your turn to go first next time, maybe you'll just set a few more fires. Maybe you'll just, you know, a little forest fire, never hurt anyone, and you're sure that it's the best way to protect a giant sacred tree. The leaf action is all about these beautiful trees. You can only buy one per action, but then you have to place it in your little garden, picking up tasty bonuses for filling rows, columns, or reaching the farthest corners. Not forgetting it's another victory condition, so every time you do it, you are one step closer to victory. You want to do it every turn, but they all cost different values, and are you going to be able to get up to the top value? Because it needs to be different, and oh wow, this is too many words and too many trees, and maybe you've lost already because someone else was putting out fires. My favourite element though, just like real life, is the element of dancing. These little spirals look like the bit of the game that you can just ignore and say, no, this is my first game, I don't want to have to learn that rule. But you'd probably be mistaken. Dancing is fun. Let's go and find out more from DJ. Technically it's just me with some headphones on, but I am standing by my decks and I do sort of know how to DJ, so I guess that makes me a DJ. Hey there everyone, welcome to Dance Club. Just going to run through a few ground rules here. If you're going to be dancing, you've got to stay safe. This is Dennis Wilson. It's going to be studio down, but I can't find it right now. First rule of Dance Club is you've got to go clockwise. Always going clockwise. Keep a nice orderly circle around the dancing area, and we make sure that we don't get any bumps and crashes. Obviously the music playing is copyright free because we're cheap. Second rule of Dance Club, you're free to do what you want to do. Specifically what I mean is that depending on how many spirals you've got from the Guardian Animal helpline that turn, that's how many spaces you can move around when you're dancing clockwise around the ring. You got that? Third rule of Dance Club is no touching. Seriously, it's quite important that we respect the bodily autonomy of other dancers. You cannot be in the same space as another dancer. That would be rude. Fourth rule of Fight Club though, stealing's fine. Like if you jump over someone, just nick something off them. One thing per time, just one thing. Stay safe, people. Property is theft, whatever. There is also an action that doesn't need any of the elements from the cards. You can always spend an action to take a relic fragment. These little bad boys that I don't understand why they're shaped like this are all about the Guardian Animal helpline.
Guardian Animal Helpline, I think I'm supposed to be a parrot. How can I help you?
Sure, yeah, I guess you can tell me how these things work.
Of course. Each of these weird little tokens will let you get rid of an animal after you've drawn it. It's like a little bouncer at your own personal party. It'll help you manage those unruly guests and give you much better odds of getting the hand you want.
Once everyone's done their action, there's a final phase where you do a bit of tidying up and work out if anyone's won. If you've put enough fires out, built enough trees, or built up a pile of 12 herbs and spices, then you've won. Unless someone else has crossed the finish line as well. If that happens, you have to look at all three of the slightly ridiculous tasks that you've been set. You can't just specialise in one unless you're certain you are going to beat everyone quite cleanly. That totting up of victory though, it only happens once someone's crossed the threshold. Normally, all you're doing here is checking whether anyone's caught on fire. Is there fire left? That's when water becomes very important. You could have used it to put out the fire earlier. You compare the amount of water you drew that turn with the value of all of the fires in the sacred circle. If there's more fire than water, you are in trouble. You get one fiery salamander added to your deck for each fire that's in the stone circle. You do not want to be falling short here. These guys, terrible at a party. They don't bring any drinks, they start loads of fights, they will make you go bust, but they won't give you any elements. It's terrible. Hopefully you've saved some of those relic-y things. If you've got some of those, you can draw one. Even if you go bust, you can just say, hey, no, you're not coming in. If you've got water, you don't have to worry about the fire. this is an opportunity to be mean. But if you're doing it, you are also missing out on one of the routes to victory, so you're probably hurting yourself more than other people, but you don't know that. And this is the key with this game. It does a lot of clever things to smooth over the nastiness. It balances out some of the unfairness and means that you'll make less mistakes. It's more forgiving. Sort of. The dancing is another example. If you want to stop someone from winning, you can skip over them on the stone circle, take one of their victory points, and you've just made yourself a little bit more time. You also got something out of it, so you're not spending anything to do that. That stealing, it happens by accident. It happens automatically. You're not having to choose who you're going to pick on. It's just, oh, sorry, I wanted to get to that space and they had enough spiral to do it, so I'm nicking one of your things. But it's just one of them. You can't lose it again. There's 5 solitary animals in the deck that you start with, which means if you draw 3 on one turn, you know for definite you can get to the bottom of your deck and only draw 2. Not enough to go bust. This simple version of card counting gives you just that bit more control, that bit more confidence that if you mess up now, there's some way to forgive it. The relic fragments mean that you can just discard a solitary animal and carry on drawing. You get to feel really clever as you find ways to squeeze this deck building into something that is precise and exactly what you were looking for. There's strategy, there's cleverness. Can you see a but coming? But well, I do need to defer to Matt here, our household quacks expert. Quacks of Quedlinburg has so many of the same push your luck and construction elements as this has got. You're making a lot of the same decisions, but there you've got the cruel highs and lows. The rough edges haven't been sanded off, and that might be where the fun is. His recipe for quack success talks about watching each other fail. And actually, well, there's less chance for failure here. By making the game less cruel, it has also become more focused on efficiency, combos, and ruthlessly manipulating the systems of the game from the very first turn. At the risk of sounding vainglorious, I've played a lot of games of this. I've introduced it to a lot of people, and I'm starting to get quite embarrassed and awkward about the fact that I keep on winning. I don't want to. I want people to be able to feel like they're in with a chance, but even on the last game I played, where I picked a strategy that I thought was terrible and was going to break the game, it worked really well and I won quite handily. Either I've become a deck building savant by spending literally hours playing Eminent Domain against a Polish woman I've never met on Board Game Arena, or this game is more sharply difficult than it initially seems. There's so many interesting levers here. This game is made out of tools for manipulating what is going on. The randomness of the push your luck gets cancelled out a bit, which cancels out the benefit of luck. The good thing about luck is that it levels a table. It makes a game more accessible some of the time. Provided it doesn't feel unfair, provided it doesn't feel cruel, it means you are all in the same boat. This system has tools. It has things you can get lost in. It looks so straightforward, but there is systems here to explore. It's the sort of game you can play and be like, hey, don't worry, we can teach this. And then watch people trying to learn how maths works. The art is both really lovely and a little bit disappointing. You can see from the manual that they're trying to go narratively for like a Studio Ghibli fantasy world, but it falls short of that obviously like incredibly high bar. Though I do absolutely adore these tiny seasonal personifications that you play as. They look like little Koroks from The Legend of Zelda, but dressed up for Halloween. And these guys, they're just dancing around a stone circle, playing about and messing about and stealing from each other. It's so adorable. Living Forest is so accessible and so rich. There's so much here to mentally fiddle with if you're into that sort of thing, but you can also put it in front of just about anybody. This particular Living Forest really is an ecosystem. There's probably not enough here to keep on playing this over and over and over forever, but I still keep on finding little tricks and things to play with. And best of all, with its lovely card design and really clever little components, this box is incredibly cheap. I managed to find a copy of this for 30 quid, which is about what I used to pay for a big box game when I first started playing games 10 years ago. Inflation and costs have been rising, so I was so surprised at how much came out of this box for this price. It's not the crunchiest thing in the world, but it's one of the warmest games that I've played in a long time. We do need to talk about the alchemist in the room though, because Quacks of Quedlingburg, it's just more exciting than this game. Check out Matt's review for more details of that, but I want to say that Living Forest might be an example of a game trying to smooth off the rough edges of something else, but on the basis of criticism of people who don't like it and therefore might not really know what the problem is. If you think Quacks is too random, too unfair, doesn't have enough agency in it, and has too big a rubber band strapped to it, then Living Forest is the game for you. But, like, you're wrong. Quacks is better. You shouldn't really be making that sort of arbitrary judgment, but here everything is smoother and lovelier, but you don't cackle in the same way. You don't pull out something and be like, I got it, I did it, I can just push for one more and then blow everything up. You've got the tools you need to stop that from happening, and so you can be cleverer, cannier and smarter with it, but not sillier. If you do like Quacks, you're going to enjoy this, but you're going to miss the sharp edges, the highs and the lows, the uproar and the chaos. And you're instead going to spend a little bit more time than you really want calculating who is ahead and whether you've got the capacity to stop them. That's not the right vibe for that pulley grabby blowy uppy. And if what you're excited about here is the adorable animals, but you're not necessarily sure about the fantasy tone, Good Papas is something that I really want to put more people in the direction of. It's a surprisingly solid and thinky and puzzly little game of little adorable papas. And I hate saying the word papas, I can't believe I did it just then. It's a game of little dogs and big combos. There's maths and puzzles to lose yourself in, even though all you are doing is getting together sets of dogs and hanging out with them. And if what you love Living Forest for is the forest, then I basically recommend the forest. It's living, it's green, it's magic. There's no victory conditions, setup time is extremely variable, player count is very flexible, and I love it. It's beautiful. There's a thing in my ear. 10 out of 10. Shut up and sit down recommends going outside. Thanks for watching. Bye.